Kia ora, and look, apologies if I've been quite silent in the last couple of days since the last All Blacks game in New Zealand. Of course, we've got a bit of a break before the All Blacks begin their tour of the Northern Hemisphere. Of course, in the site, the team to tour the Northern Hemisphere will be named on the 7th of October, so Monday, of course. Look, so I guess, yeah, look, I guess why not put a video up? Look, I'm not really going to go into too much depth, because, yeah, look, I think the site is going to be predictable. Considering, I guess, look, a couple, in terms of player health. We know Samisani Takiaho's done for 2024, so he's not going to be in the All Blacks this year. We on the positive run, Cam Roigard is set to make his return to the rugby field in the NPC this weekend for counties. They, of course, speaking of counties, of course, big weekend of NPC. It's the final round of the NPC. As I post this, that's why I'm in my Tiger top. And, of course, hoping that Cam Roigard doesn't fire counties to a win of a man or two who they play in Palmerston North. Because if counties win, that makes it hard for Tiger to make the NPC's quarterfinals, as we call it. But certainly good news for All Blacks. And good seeing Cam Roigard there. Probably will be off the bench, I imagine. Not, I guess, because he's just come back. Of course, the current counties halfback is playing rather well. I'm sorry, I don't have the name. Counties are playing really well, I've got to say. They've really finished the season strongly, so they could be a dark horse. But certainly they can get Cam Roigard there. He's been breaking lap speed records during rehab. So, yeah, fingers crossed. Look, I think it's going to be an interesting battle. And I think, look, if he gets through this, I think we might very well have seen the loss of TJ Perenara. I think, to be honest, I kind of get the feeling TJ Perenara knows that he's kind of said goodbye to the All Blacks in Wellington. It's just fitting, but hey, mind you, every rugby player knows that their last game, the game they just played could very well be their last. It's just such the nature of the game and life. But, yeah, look, so certainly I think if Cam Roigard gets through this game against counties, he's going to be in the All Blacks tour. He's going to be named on Monday. Look, I think the other person, I think first five, I've talked about this many times in the previous videos. First five is certainly an area we need to look at. I think it looks like Josh Jacob. I think Josh Jacob, he's had a great NPC season, but I think it will probably be a bit too soon to call him up to the All Blacks. Although there is, of course, the All Blacks 15. That's the side tour. That's effectively like the A tour that is going on sideways. And Scott Robertson has said that he will try to make use of this tour to black players who haven't really had much game time. I'm thinking like your Josh Lords, who might not necessarily be able to get into the to the main side. Because the other thing we should note is that the same number of players are going to be named for the All Blacks tour, as they were for the Rugby Championship. So any spare players would have to go into the All Blacks 15. So someone like Josh Law, someone like Josh Jacob, in fact, you could very well see a couple of Taranaki players in there. Given maybe Ricky Riccitelli, and that. So yeah, watch this space. So it looks to me though, I think so. I think it's gonna be either D-Mac and Bowden Barrett to compete for the number 10 jersey. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. I think D-Mac's still clearly the number one, just ahead of Bowden Barrett. I mean, Bowden Barrett had a really good, solid game. Not quite as spectacular as Damien McKenzie, but he did all that was needed. In Wellington against the Wallabies. And maybe they might see that. Scott Robertson might see that as a plus. It reminds me a bit of the Spencer Mertens battle. But yeah, I think for me, it feels like Harry Plummer is the third option at the moment. I know they've kind of picked him as a fullback, but yeah, he certainly can play number 10. He did play number 10, of course, for Auckland in that Field Shield Challenge in Nelson in midweek. So it kind of feels like at the moment there's not really going to be a whole much room. I think it's probably good that Jacob actually starts for the All Blacks 15, rather than come on and be and not barely have any game time. So in the All Blacks 15, much as I think he will be in the All Blacks, but I think certainly perhaps maybe this tour is a bit too soon for him. But I think he certainly with the form he's shown this season, he certainly needs to be in there. I know there might be a talk that there is a chance that he has had a few issues with his shoulder that he might very well miss out. But yeah, I think he's still playing, so I think he should be right to go. So we shall see. Other areas, and I don't think there's going to be. I think the other area, I guess. Yes, the number 7 open side position. Of course, Sam Cane got his 100th cap in Wellington. And I guess there is the big question mark. He's obviously heading to Japan. I think there is a really good shot that Sam Cane will end up on this tour. I think he offers so much in the tackling of the experience. If you don't bring TJ Perenara, I think you bring Sam Cane just as someone who has been in the All Blacks the longest, and someone who shows he can still perform at a really really high at a really really high level. His tackle rate is still amazing, and I think the fact is your Luke Jacobsons and Dalton Papali'is are still not quite there, particularly when you consider that they're playing against England, Ireland, France, really elite teams there. I think Sam Cane does offer a lot for the All Blacks against those sides. I know he didn't have the best game for his 100th, but then again, a lot of players don't when they are celebrating a milestone game. So I think there is merit for Sam Cane there, and the other reason is, I guess, you look at New Zealand. I think you look at in the NPC at the moment. I mean, there isn't really any other options. I think that would add to this that would usurp anyone in this team. Maybe Dalton Papali'i might be the most vulnerable, but yeah, I mean, who would you just pick from the NPC ahead of Dalton Papali'i at the moment? And of course, yeah, I guess the question is there really any need as well? You got someone like Wallace Atiti, who he's clearly nailed on going to be in the side. You've got Ardie Severe. You've got Ethan Blackadder, who when he's fit will could possibly be take Sam Cane's place or come off the bench. So yeah, I think Sam Cane will be in there. So I think it's going to be a rather boring 32. Not really any going to be changes, because I think there's going to be. I think right now the All Blacks need that continuity as they're developing now. I don't think we have the depth that we had in the past, and I think in the NPC, I don't think players like Finley Christie, have quite done enough to get back in. I mean. Not because they're playing badly, it's just that there is just too much depth in halfback, for instance. I think you see your likes of David Harvili, your Plumbers, Love, if he's fit, they'll get right back in. They'll retain their place in the 32. So so those are my thoughts. Not a particularly exciting thing, not a particularly exciting video, because I think to reflect that it's not exactly going to be the most riveting squad announcement. So, but what are your thoughts? Look, if there were to name a bolter, who would you have in this end of year tour? I guess maybe that All Blacks 15 could be quite interesting. Although I'm not really going to dive into naming a full side, because I feel that it's going to be maybe a little bit of a lottery. But I mean, I could name Josh Jacob, JRK, I'm not going to pronounce his full name, is the fullback wing from Taranaki. What's his name? The Otago first five, who, sorry, I apologize, I can't seem to name at the moment. But look, certainly, what are your thoughts? And of course, if you like this video, if you like, and don't forget to subscribe.